Bristol in the spring, super chaotic with tires wearing out in 40 or 50 laps. I think a lot of us were expecting it this time. We didn't see that at all. I think we should probably dive into what might have changed, whether weather-wise or track surface.
Yeah, I think it was unknown going into the weekend, right? Nobody had any idea if it was going to be just like the spring. I know the test, they saw some similar tire wear. Bringing back everything exactly the same, I don't think anybody knew, and I don't know what your choices were going into it, but do we try to bias for that first one, or do we go back thinking it's going to be like last fall race?
You can see some still pictures of when we started practice this time on Friday. We had 45 minutes straight practice. The track is tremendously darker than it was in the spring. This one on the left, really clean. Like there's nothing on the racetrack hardly. Maybe a little rubber at the bottom. There's some darkness at the top, but not much. But the one close to you, Travis, it looks like cars have been all over that racetrack.
You can see the fall. It was very clearly going to go right back to the old Bristol where the track took the rubber, the top groove rubbered in. Everything was the same quintessential. We just all found out together at the same moment.
You wouldn't dare run the top in practice in the spring because there were so many marbles. We right away went right to the top, and cars were making speed up there.
Yeah, this is when we knew, right? We could see the track. We didn't know how it was going to go. But the moment people started going to the top early and running the same pace as the bottom, that's almost never been the case, regardless of the race of the year in history. It takes till you get somewhat into the first stage or after that Xfinity race for the top to truly be rubbered up enough to matter. And right away, the whole field's out there. Everybody's top, bottom, middle, just going wherever, running the same pace. I think at that moment, everybody went, okay, no longer going to be a tire wear race.
They decided to play PJ1 on Saturday before the race to try to get that bottom groove to come in so that we could have 2 lanes and have more passing for the event.
They sprayed resin on a larger chunk of the bottom groove, or maybe even the whole track. I don't even remember, honestly. But resin was new in the spring, and they thought, oh, could that have been the problem with the tires? They went back and tested. It was similar but not as bad. They're going to stick with the resin. We think the resin's better for potentially wet weather scenarios or whatever it may be, because the PJ is just a different compound. They've had issues with the PJ at different tracks, so the resin's kind of become the dominant thing. But what happened was they saw it going that way. They saw the Xfinity race become top dominant, and they said, if the bottom groove doesn't come in at all, we're going to have this train around the top. Nothing fun's going to happen. So let's spray the bottom 2 feet. And so the reason we stopped this image right here, you can see this dark chunk. This is the area of the track they sprayed. They come spray the PJ. It's going to take a couple laps to activate, but then it's going to give all that grip to your left side tires, make the bottom more of an option to go down there and pass a guy, maybe run the same pace as the top where the drivers have options.
This is the end of the Xfinity race on the left and the start of our race on the right. The other thing NASCAR did, they tried to scrape some of the rubber off the top to make it less dominant, and it semi-worked. I think people didn't want to go up there right away. Our cars naturally kind of pull up rubber as we drive around under caution, so that's some of the cleaning that happened there. But scraping the top, spraying the bottom, trying to make more side-by-side racing.
Just the top part, this is what we're talking about. You can see almost like what we showed earlier for how the spring to fall track looked. When they scraped it up, that's kind of what it looks like after the Xfinity race. And usually they don't do too much between the races. So our race would have started with that much rubber on the track. And like you said, they were trying to make it have 2 lanes. And I think they did. I mean, there was multiple times throughout the race that I would tell my spotter, hey, tell him that last lap was good. He ran top. Oh, he ran bottom this time. He ran go back down there. It was just the same thing. It was whatever rhythm he was happy in. So it was super even. I think the lanes were great. I think the track prep was great. We just don't really know what changed that made the tires not do what they did in the spring, or what it is that made the spring do that when historically we've seen more races like this.